Kings and queens, welcome back to Cooking with A. Today we'll be making salmon cakes as well as Cajun jambalaya pasta. So let's get started. So the first recipe I started working on was the salmon cakes. They came out delicious. I make them quite often. I have a lot of family and friends who love them. It tastes so much fresher than making salmon croquettes from a can. So we're going to get started with today's spice rack, which contains garlic salt, black pepper, and fresh parsley. The full list of ingredients can be found in the description box below. You're going to need to dice 1 medium onion and 3 sweet peppers, any color you want. So after you've diced your 1 medium onion and your 3 sweet peppers, it's time to add 1 tablespoon of oil and 1 tablespoon of butter to your pan. Turn it on medium heat and it's time to saute. You're going to saute the onion and the peppers until the onions are translucent and until they're a little bit softer. You'll know when it's time. So I didn't put the butter in initially, so I put it in after they began to become a little translucent, and I continued to stir the mixture until the onions and peppers were ready to be removed from the fire. I think it takes about 7 to 10 minutes. Now remove from the heat and allow it to cool. Before I started the recipe, I cooked the salmon. I have 1 pound of salmon and I cooked it on 425 for 15 minutes. I set it aside to cool and now it's time to use the salmon. So you grab your salmon, the pan that it came in, and you're going to transfer it into any bowl. Ensure that the skin from the back of the salmon is no longer attached to your 1 pound piece. Once you've gotten the salmon all in the bowl, then you would use a fork to separate the pieces, just like this. Once you're finished pulling apart the salmon, you would take the cooled onions and peppers and add it to the salmon mixture. Then you're going to gather together the rest of your ingredients. The rest of this should go pretty quickly. Don't wash out the pan you used to saute the vegetables because you will be using that pan again. You need 1 cup of Panko breadcrumbs. You add that to the bowl. Next, you will need 2 beaten eggs. So once you've beaten them, you just go ahead and add it to the mixture. The next step, you will need 1 teaspoon of, I can't say this word, Worcestershire sauce. You will also need 1 teaspoon of garlic salt. You'll add that to the mixture as well. The next step, you will also need 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. After you've added the black pepper, you're going to need 1/4 cup of parsley flakes. Put all these ingredients in the bowl together, and the final ingredient you will need is 3 tablespoons of your choice of mayonnaise. Once you've added the mayonnaise to the mixture, you are getting ready to stir. So initially, when I began to stir this mixture, I used a orange, what do you call those things, silicone spoon, and then I discovered I needed something a little bit more firm to ensure that all the ingredients were mixed to perfection. So I grabbed one of my wooden spoons and went ahead and mixed the rest of the mixture just to ensure that it was completely mixed together perfectly. At this point, it's time to begin to prepare the patties. They were medium-sized patties, like if you were to get an ice cream scoop or use something like that, that's the size that the patties were. Again, I added 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of butter back to the same pan that we used earlier. Then I waited until the butter completely melted before I began to fry my salmon cakes. Make sure the pot is hot enough. You can tell once the butter melts. So then I actually added the salmon cake too soon, so I had to wait a little bit before I added the other one. You cook these 4 minutes on each side. Once you see that the side is brown, then it's time to flip it over to the next side. Once they're brown on both sides, you can now drain it on a paper towel and then continue to fry the rest of the salmon cakes. This recipe yields about 12 salmon cakes in total. And then once they're all drained, then you are ready to eat. They are so daggone good. We actually made a homemade tartar sauce for these, and then we devoured them. They were amazing and delicious and divine. The salmon cakes were not difficult to make at all. They were so delicious. They are absolutely gone now. Thanks again for stopping by, and we will be cooking again soon.